Okay, so wrapping up this module, we're taking a little bit of a detour from angles and angle properties to find missing angles and triangles and things like that. And we're going to talk about scale drawings, and then we'll finish up the module talking about three-dimensional figures. Of course, scale drawing still deals with measurements, still deals with geometry. So example 1, it says refer to the map of Italy. We're going to show work to get our answer. There's multiple ways I can show my work on how to get this. I like to just go back to the good old proportion, because proportions can be used with scale drawings, and that's what I'm going to go with. But show some work to get your answer. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a proportion, especially these ones are pretty nice. So you might think, well, I don't really necessarily need the proportion. I still like to go with the proportion, so that's what I'm going to do. So A says, what is the actual distance between Rome and Genoa? Use a ruler to measure the map. So what I am actually going to do here first is I'm going to draw a line from Rome to Genoa, which is, okay, so there's Genoa and there's Rome, just to kind of mark off the distance that I'm looking at here. Okay, then what I'm going to do, there's a couple ways I could do this. What I'm going to do is mark down what I'm using here for my scale. So from here to here, they're saying that's going to be equal to 200 miles. I'm just going to call that 1 unit. And when you do your problems in the book, they actually just do call that 1 unit. So this distance from here to here is 1 unit. And I know 1 unit is actually equal to 200 miles. I'm going to go with miles, go with our U.S. customary measurement as opposed to going with the metric system, which tells me what it is in metrics too. So 1 unit is actually 200 miles, okay? So like I said, I'm doing a proportion, so I'm going to go ahead and start setting up my proportion here. So 1 unit is actually 200 miles, and I'm trying to figure out this distance, how many miles that actually is. So I'm going to do something x over miles. I don't know what that something is yet. So what I'm going to do is take this little sticky note that I marked down and see how many of these go from that distance from Genoa to Rome. So I've got 1 unit plus, now this way it says what's the actual distance. I'm going to have to estimate a little bit because I don't know exactly what that is. I'm going to say that's about 1/4 of a unit. So I'm going to say on my map it was 1 1/4 of those units of measurements. And then I'm just going to solve that proportion. So take a 1 1/4 times 200 divided by 1. That's why I said the ones we're doing are pretty nice because it was just 1 unit. It wasn't like 3/4 of a unit or something like that. So it makes it pretty easy to maybe not use a proportion. But and like I said, based off of my estimation that I said that was about 1/4 of a unit, I'm going to get 250 miles. So about 250 miles is what I got. So I'm just going to say the distance is, I'm going to be pretty short and sweet with my sentence because I don't have much room here, is about 250 miles. I'm saying about just because I realized I wasn't very exact when I said that 1/4. I just kind of estimated that it looked about like 1/4 of a unit. B, what is the actual distance between Naples and Taranto? Okay, so Naples is here, Taranto, and I might be saying that name wrong. Don't know if it's pronounced like Toronto that's in Canada or not, but I'm going to go with that. I'm going to draw a line to give myself my distance there. And then I'm going to, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set up part of my proportion here. It's going to be 1 unit over 200 miles. That doesn't change because I'm using the same scale over and over again on this problem. I'm going to see how many of these it is. So on this one, there is my mark. Well, so it's not even a full unit, so I'm going to have to estimate here. I'm going to say that's about 3/4 of a unit is what I'm going to estimate that to be. So I'm going to say it's 3/4 of a unit. And I'm trying to then figure out how many miles is that. So solve that. Take 3/4 times 200 divided by 1. And I'm going to get, and I'm going to get, so 3/4 times 200, I'm going to get 150. So about 150 miles again. But that's definitely kind of an estimate because I did just kind of estimate that that was 3/4. So the distance is about 150 miles. Okay, and our last one there, we're gonna figure out how far is it from Milan to Palermo. Okay, so again, I'm gonna give myself a line here. So Milan to Palermo. Now, when it says what is the actual distance, we are looking at it as a straight shot. Obviously, if you're driving here, actual distance would be longer, right? Because I'm not going to be able to cut straight across that body of water. But we're just figuring out the actual distance, not driving distance. So I'm going to use that same process. I'm going to put this down. So there is 1 unit. Kind of mark it off as I go. There is a second one. Okay, so it's going to be 2 and a little bit more. I'm going to go 3/4 again. That's kind of what I said with Naples, Toronto. I kind of said that was about 3/4 of one. So that ended up being 2 3/4. So set up my proportion. So 1 unit is 200 miles. And then I said it was going to be 2 3/4 units fit inside that distance over X miles, and then solve that. So 2 3/4 times 200 divided by 1. That's going to come out to be about 550. But again, I estimated a little bit there when I said it was 3/4, right? So the distance is about 550 miles. Okay, got a few more here to go through. So on this one, we're given like a floor plan. And they actually tell us our scale is every 1 inch is equal to 8 feet. And they give us the measurement in inches. Obviously, this isn't actually to scale. I think you guys can tell that distance there isn't actually going to be 2 inches. So, but then what it asks me, it says find the actual area of the kitchen, the actual area. So before I can find the actual area, I've got to convert my scale drawing to what those measurements would be actually. So we're talking about the kitchen. So right here, so that kitchen is 1.5 inches by 2 inches. So, and my scale was every 1 inch is actually 8 feet. And so I'm going to have to convert each measurement separately. I'm going to have to do the 1.5 inch side to figure out what it is actually in feet. So take 1.5 times 8. When I do that, I'm going to get that this side is going to be equal to 12 feet. Okay, then move on to, and then move on to the other side, would be 2 inches. So I'm going to have the 1 inch side, 1 inch over 8 feet. I'm trying to find the 2 inch side. So 2 times 8 divided by 1. So that side is 16 feet actually. Now, it didn't just ask for those measurements, so it asked for the area. Well, how do you find area of a rectangle? Base times height. So then I need to take 12 times 16 to get the actual area, which comes out to be 192 feet, because I need my measurement label, and of course it'd be squared because I'm referencing area here. I've got my area. Okay, B, I need to find the actual area of the office. So the office, I'm looking right here. For that office, I've got a dimension that's 1 inch. Well, that one I don't even need to do a proportion for because my scale is every inch is 8 feet. So guess what? That length is 8 feet. The other one was 1 1/4, so I'll do a proportion on that. So every 1 inch is 8 feet, and then it's 1 1/4 inches is the other measurement. So I'm going to be taking 1 1/4 times 8 divided by 1. When I do that, I'm going to get 10. So that measurement is 10. So I take the 8 times the 10, and I'll get my area. So it's 80 feet squared is the actual area of that office. Okay, last one then is taking a drawing. Well, what is it? It says it's the drawing of the top view of a room with an addition that uses a scale of 1 unit. Every 1 unit is actually 3 feet. Reproduce the drawing with a scale of 1 unit equals 9 feet. Okay, so we're taking something that is a scale drawing and replicating that scale drawing, but using a different scale. Okay, so first I'm going to look at this and see, count how many units it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that is 12 units right now. And so it said every unit is actually 3 feet. So I'm going to figure out the actual dimensions of this. So that means if I take that times 3, it'll tell me what that actual measurement was. So that is actually 36 feet an actual distance. Here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is 6, times it by 3. So the actual of that is 18 feet. This side here is the same measurement, so I'm going to go ahead and write 18 feet on that one also. Here I've got 1, 2, 3. So 3 times 3, so the actual of that's 9. This is going to be 9 also because it's 3, so this is 9, this is 9. This one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 3. I guess we already said we knew that was 18. Okay, so those are all the actual measurements. And now it says we're going to reproduce this using where every unit is actually 9 feet. So in other words, now I really need to divide all of these by 9 to get how many units I need to do on my scale drawing. So if I take that 36 divided by 9, I get that I need to make that top part be 4 units. So I'm going to start here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, take this divided by 9. So this one needs to be 2 units. So I'm going to go down 2. Okay, this side's also got to be 2, so I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. Divide this by 9, so this only needs to be 1. So I need to go in 1 unit on each of these. Okay, that was 9, so that means I only got to go down 1 on each of those sides. This was 18, so divide that by 9 means it has to be 2. And there we go. I reproduced my scale drawing using that new scale of 1 unit equals 9 feet.